Hello and welcome to another episode of On Your Mark with your host Bubba Wheat. The arc for today is the Rise and Demise or Otherwise of Tekna Logik, number 402506 by Coolio. First off, I have to say I really like that title. This is a 5-mission heroic arc with a level range from 10 to 50, but the second mission is level capped at 20. Anyway, my contact today is Lawrence Justice. The mission dialogue is pretty straightforward and to the point. There's a break-in at Sharp Technologies' TechBot facility. He also mentioned that there's not enough time to give me the full details, but he hands me a mission briefing. I look at the clues to find more information, but instead I just find what he already told me. According to the author, this was done to make the information easier to access by teammates. It's not a bad idea except for two things. One, teammates can access the mission briefing and send-off text by clicking the mission tab and the More Info button. And two, if you're playing solo, then the info is pretty redundant and doesn't give any new information. Instead, the briefing is given as the mission pop-up, which is also available to all teammates, but once it's gone, you can't refer to it again. It seemed to make more sense to have the mission briefing as the clue, since it can recap the general information and include some new information. And shortly after I enter this mission, I met with another good idea in theory, but not always in practice. Patrols, 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 patrols. Almost every mission has patrols, and most missions have lots of them. Patrols are a useful tool to add more dialogue into a mission, and to create a more dynamic mission, but too many patrols can cause problems. During my several trips through this arc, I felt it was a little bit too much. One rule of thumb, which I'm completely just making up right now, is 1 patrol per map size. Anyway, I meet up with Mr. Sharp in full Roman-themed superhero gear right up at the front. He's an Axe willpower boss ally that comes along with you. In fact, every mission has an ally you can use. There's also a computer terminal I need to use to transmit an evacuate command to all the active tech bots in the lab. The tech bots all have unique names and color schemes, though most just run off once freed. All of the tech bots are besieged by the 5th column, who shout in German with translations at the end. It's all fairly generic stuff, what they say, so it wouldn't take a whole lot away if the translation was just removed. I rounded out this defeat all by taking out the boss, Der Oberbefehlshaber, and his merc minions. I like the look of this boss, though I was a little disappointed that after I was done with him, he doesn't show up again. I also thought this mission was appropriate for defeat all, which usually doesn't go over too well. It's not too big of a map, and it makes sense for the story. I returned to Lawrence after a job well done, but a hero's job is never done as there are 2 tech bots missing. But he's got other officers working on that part of the case, and there's a riot breaking out that he needs my help with. And when I get there, I find out that it's outcasts. Generally, it's a good idea to have a consistent level range throughout the arc. If you're playing this arc with a level 50, it's a little annoying to be dropped down to level 20 for one mission. And if you're playing at the minimum level of 10, there would be several bosses that are very difficult even with the help of an ally. Personally, I don't really see what the importance of using the outcasts as a group is. Could be Riot of Freak Show or Warriors or any other high-level group. And then the level range of the arc can be more consistent and overall higher. Aside from that, the Riot scene was fairly well done. It's on a big Steel Canyon map with lots of battles between the Outcast and the PPD, as well as several patrols of Outcast and PPD. This is one case where the patrols do help to give the good Riot feel to the mission. You also have the optional help of Officer Lawrence as an ally. The objective here is to take out Eduardo and his posse, which is literal because he's a thug's mastermind who summons his posse. And when you do take out Eduardo, he invokes the name of Zeus, which of course means a Malta Zeus Titan, which can be pretty tough at level 20. And it turns out this riot was all just a distraction made by Tekna Logik, one of the missing tech bots who has apparently gone renegade. Kudos on not using the term gone rogue. And now I'm on to the hunt for Tekna Logik. The enemies are a hodgepodge of various robotic enemies. I generally like this style of enemy group. It's a lot easier to create a balanced group that's not overpowered by using various standard enemies. Though I would suggest that you take the extra effort to rename some of them and give them new bios to reflect the fact that they're under Tekna's control. This time Coolio Wolfus is my ally, and this is another defeat all. And again, this mission felt like it suffered from too many patrols, and at the end of it, it felt like a waste of time. I didn't get any new information, and all the mission return text really says about it is I made the warehouse safe for the cleaners. The PPD have gotten a lead on Tactical Assault, the missing tech bot that's not Tekna Logik. They claim he's harmless, but I seriously doubt that. When I get to Skyway, my objectives list 3 field commanders. The map is populated with more of the controlled robots group from the last mission, and Coolio Wolfus is here again as an optional ally. Field commanders are actually recolored Vanguard heavies. But this time I did remember to pick up my ally, and Coolio was a big help taking the 3 of them down to reveal Tactical Assault. It turned out to be quite a bit easier than the 3 heavies I just took out. And finally, the true location of Tekna Logik has been tracked down to Fault Line. Strangely enough, this is one map where there really weren't any patrols, at least none that I noticed. Both Coolio Wolfus and Tekna Logik are in the same final room. It's not too difficult of a fight, not nearly as difficult as the heavies in Mission 4, or the Zeus Titan in Mission 2, when you're capped to level 20. There's a lot of good ideas about this arc. I like the Robot Factory break-in, and I like the riot, but it just doesn't feel like there's anything tying it together. I know they talk about Tekna Logik, but you only fight her in the last mission. 2 entire missions are just diversions that put you right where you started. My suggestion would be to combine the 3 center missions into one mission. Use the riot as the diversion, but use the custom robot group instead of the outcasts, and include Tactical Assault as part of the diversion. This progresses the story, removes the level drop, and helps showcase the custom standard group more. I hope my suggestions help for Coolio or anyone else. This is Bubba Wheat. Until next time.
Kill Roy! Kill Roy! Kill Roy! Kill Roy!